All right, welcome back. Time now to bring in our panel. Joining us today, Abdul Hakim Shabazz, Alexandra Hudson, and Adam Wren. And let's start with Abdul, who's the editor and publisher of IndyPolitics.org. Abdul, the governor faced a bit of a backlash from conservatives on the enforcement question when it comes to his mandate on masks that eventually led him Friday to change the way this would be enforced. Really no enforcement mechanism in place at all now.
Exactly. It's definitely not in the executive order. The governor did say on his news conference this week that he wasn't going to be like, the mask police and was going to try, to convince the better nature of Hoosiers to do this. So from that perspective, the governor is being consistent. I don't know exactly why. Well, I take that back. I do know why. A lot of my conservative friends don't like the mask order. They don't like, government telling them what to do regardless, period. And unlike, it reminds me of the seatbelt fight, 30, 35 years ago. The point of the mask is to prevent and help control the spread of COVID-19. And well, like I said, why my Republican friends don't want to do this is beyond me. Let's say they just don't like big government telling them what to do.
Adam, your view on all of this, a lot of political layers, especially with the Attorney General weighing in just weeks after Republicans decided to pick another candidate for Attorney General this year.
That's right, Dan. Yeah, it's never good public policy when you announce on a Wednesday an executive order, and by Friday, that executive order has lost all teeth. I think really this is an instance of Governor Holcomb getting outplayed, outmaneuvered by Attorney General Curtis Hill, and also incoming potentially the Republican nominee, Todd Rokita, who also made a statement kind of questioning the legality of this. You also saw some coordinated statements from county sheriffs that looked like they all sort of had similar language. So clearly, Holcomb kind of got out ahead of his skis when announcing this on Wednesday, saying that it would be a Class B misdemeanor, and then by Friday, all of those teeth are gone from the executive order.
Enforcement or no enforcement, as Abdul was saying, hopefully more people in masks can help certainly stop the spread of this terrible disease. Let's also talk about this coming school year and the recent news from Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. Alexander, you served under Education Secretary DeVos, who has, of course, kind of talked about this notion, so has the president, of defunding schools that don't open. Does she truly have the authority to do such a thing?
No, neither the president nor the Secretary of Education have the authority to unilaterally appropriate funds. That role falls to the legislative branch of our government, Congress. But the question is, the Congress is currently talking about an incredible amount of new resources that would be allocated to schools as a part of this next stimulus bill. And there is a legitimate debate to be had about how those resources should be allocated, especially to schools that don't reopen. And so the secretary, through her comments recently, she's always tried to focus the conversation around parents and students and how they can be empowered to make decisions about their education, and there are a number of important questions about that, because we all know it is best for learning outcomes and social, emotional development of students to get students back in the classroom as soon as possible. But we also know we're not out of the woods yet when it comes to the state of the pandemic, and we should leave those decisions up to local districts and parents to collaborate with local schools, and not the state superintendent, not Congress, not the president, not the Secretary of Education should be making that decision for districts in our nation.
A lot of debate, obviously, about schools, both at the elementary, the high school, and the secondary level, the college level. Adam, you recently wrote about former governor and Purdue President Mitch Daniels. It's quite a situation for everyone in education right now, approaching this coming school year.
That's right. In this case, Daniels was really one of the national leaders back in May when we didn't know as much as we do now about the novel coronavirus, essentially saying that, look, we're going to find a way for students to be able to be back on campus if they want to be. There's been some pushback from faculty and staff members and some students, but in the most cases, we're seeing a number of students kind of take him up on his offer to be back on campus. Students are, getting tested. They're receiving a kit. and really trying to mask up. And, Mitch Daniels has been in meetings with Betsy DeVos where he has said that if colleges are going to return, they need protection from liabilities, from lawsuits. And so, in some ways, he's kind of playing both sides of the coin here. But we'll really see what happens, in the next couple of weeks as students start to return to campus. And we'll see whether or not Mitch Daniels and other college presidents were right, that they could safely conduct the business of college on the campus.
Abdul, 100 days until Election Day coming up. We're going to be talking with both state party chairmen. Obviously, still a lot of questions about how voting will be conducted. Republicans and Democrats with different views right now on how this election should be conducted in the fall.
Yes, Democrats this week, Indiana State House Democrats had a news conference where they called for a special session. One of the things they wanted was for lawmakers to pass, no absentee voting with no excuse absentee voting. However, that really isn't necessary because we did it for the primary. We had basically, you can mail in your vote for any reason. So there's no reason why you can't maybe do that for November. I think it will likely happen again because I don't think we'll be out of the woods yet. But it is going to be, you're right, my friend, it's less than 100 days to go. So there's going to be one of many fun discussions we're going to be seeing here in Indiana.
And Alexandra, with 100 days left until this election, how steeply will this coronavirus continue to define really everything when it comes to our politics and our elections in this very divided country right now?
There's no question that it will continue to be front and center in our public discussion. It's affecting every aspect of our lives, especially with Governor Holcomb's new mask mandate. So I just hope that we continue to keep the end goal in mind, which is getting through this until we have a vaccine that can allow life to turn back to some semblance of normalcy. But until then, we have to make a lot of sacrifices for one another and for the literal health of our community.
Alexandra, Adam, Abdul, thank you all so much. Be safe out there. We'll see you again soon. All right, stick around. We'll be back right after this with much more, including our interview with State Rep Brian Bosma on his last week at the State House.